Booster Gold! Could you show us your comic book collection, how it is on your shelf, and what do you prefer buying, hardcovers or paperbacks? I'll answer the question first. I don't really care, hardcovers or paperbacks. Whichever one's there, I'll buy. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm a person that I care about the story on the inside rather than what's on the cover. I do like, however, the covers that actually have like the image painted on the cover, and we don't have these dust covers. I hate dust covers. They're like so pointless. As you will see right away that I am not the most organized person. I try to have them separated into like categories, like this is Superman, here's Spider-Man, or is this more Batman? Yeah, I have a few Batman piles and a couple of Spider-Man. Oh, that's Batman too. Where's Spider-Man? That's Deadpool. Spider-Man's around here somewhere. Anyway, here's X-Men. Those are all the comic books. Of course, all the issues are up here. There's more comic book issues. I mean, all the trades are there and there. Yeah, that's basically it. There's some more though that aren't in there. Injustice, that's a great comic book series. But this is basically it. Next is Crazy Fun TV Movie Guide. Congrats on 500 videos. Keep up the good work. What is the worst graphic novel trade you have ever read? It has to be Arkham Asylum Madness. That thing, everything about it is wrong. The artwork is wrong. The writing is wrong. The characters are wrong. Everything about it is boring, wrong, and just bad. It is one of the most boring, tedious reads I've ever had to read, and it's just so bad, and it's so badly written. It's just hard to stomach, and I don't know. It's just Arkham Asylum Madness. I hate them. Who are your top 5 favorite comic book heroes that aren't superheroes or supporting characters? Example: Jonah Hex, Constantine, Marv, Spider, Jerusalem, Jessica, etc. Jonah Hex. I don't read. I said that earlier. I don't read Constantine or any of those other people that you mentioned. Or Constantine. That's the proper way to pronounce it, right? For favorites, I don't really have any. Most of my stuff that I read is just comic book stuff. I don't have 5. I only have Jonah Hex and maybe the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but those kind of count as superheroes. Have you watched the leaked pilot episode of the upcoming DC shows, and which are you most excited for? I have not watched any. I don't like to watch leaked things. I'd rather it come to me in the right amount of time, and the time that it was meant to when everyone else gets it. So I hate leaked things. Which one am I? I don't know. Because I like Arrow a bunch. And I think Arrow is definitely something... for the new ones, out of like Flash, Constantine, or no, I guess the show calls it Constantine. So Constantine and Gotham, I would probably say Flash. I'm looking forward to the most, basically because it feels like the most in the Arrow universe, and I've already seen guys play Flash, and I think he's really good. I'm hoping for a cool Captain Cold for once, and I don't mean cool as in he's cold. I mean an actual nice Captain Cold. Here's the thing: I would love it if they didn't give him powers. I would love it if they didn't give him powers. If he actually had the cold gun. Because there's some characters, I don't care if you give him powers or not. It looks like Weather Wizard in the beginning has powers. Don't care. Good. Give him powers. I don't care. But Captain Cold makes more sense with a freeze gun because of the way it works. I've mentioned this a whole bunch of times in Rogue's Revenge. He says how he has this freeze field that the gun can make that will slow down Flash enough that he can shoot at him. That makes more sense than he's shooting ice beams out of his hands. I want Captain Cold to be the coolest, so Flash is what I'm looking forward to. Is The Dark Knight Returns your favorite graphic novel of all time? And if it's not, which is? Yes, it is. Have you finished reading Jeff Strong's run with Green Lantern? What did you think of it? As I said, it's my favorite. It's my favorite long-running comic book run of all time. It has just everything. It has some of my favorite comic book fight scenes. Superboy Prime versus Sodam Yad as Ion. I love it. Love it. It's just one of my favorites ever. Are you reading any Are you reading or are interested in any non-superhero comic books, either mainstream or independent? Example, Sega, which, by the way, is a flippin' masterpiece. No, I'm not too much into indie books. There's so many of them out there that I wouldn't even know where to start, and I'd rather stick with what I know. Have you watched any of the anime series that I recommended on that essay-long comment I left you on Spirited Away review? No, I'm still not into anime. Haven't watched any of that other stuff. Sorry. What do you think of Alan Moore? I think that the comic book industry would be a real different industry if we didn't have Alan Moore. I think that what he did, not only with Watchmen, with other stuff, is absolutely essential and great. Like some of his stuff that I watch are interesting topics that I don't think other people would have thought of. Mogo doesn't socialize or stuff like that. Let's keep going. I know you hate Family Guy and American Dad, but what do you think of South Park and the way they portray Canadians? Here's the thing. I don't like Family Guy. I made that quite clear. But I have seen Family Guy episodes all the way through. Been some that I hated so much that I had to stop in the middle. But there was a time where I'm like, well, it's not that bad. It's kind of bad. No, it's bad. So there was a time where I watched Family Guy. I've seen some American Dad. Not my choice. James, thanks a lot. But I've seen some American Dad. South Park, I have not seen one episode. Not in passing, not on TV, nothing. I can't judge South Park. I know it's one of those shows that uses crude humor and whatnot, and it has its own style, and some of it might go too far. Because I've heard lots about South Park. I've seen lots of clips of South Park. I saw the Nostalgia Critics Top 11 favorite South Park episodes. I've seen stuff like that, but I've never actually seen a full episode for myself, so I don't really have an opinion. Hey, but if you want a Canadian South Park, look up Chili Beach in the comments. CBC television show, Chili Beach. You tell me if that looks like a Canadian ripoff. I know that they portray Canadians as idiots, but what do you know? You're just Americans. I'm sorry. That was low blow. Would you agree that when it comes to comic books, DC is better than Marvel, considering that DC has almost all the comics/graphic novels that be classed as one of the greatest of all times, where Marvel only has a very few? This is what I think, but what is your opinion on this? Well, it is true that it's all in your perspective. In one sense, it's true that Watchmen and Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns, V for Vendetta, Batman Year One, Long Halloween, stuff like that is considered by some people to be the greatest comic book of all time. Where Marvel, I don't know any that has that. To be fair, I'm much more in DC, so I have more knowledge of DC. But still, whenever you see a documentary on comic books, every single time they will bring up Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns. You won't see specific storylines like that with Marvel. But here's the thing with Marvel. Marvel's history revolves around the fact that they grew up a lot faster than DC. DC might have had some serious stories, but it was Marvel and Stan Lee that actually took the writing comics seriously at first. And so that's why Marvel has always been in great competition with DC, because DC is around because of its classics and its past and its characters. Marvel is around because it was a game changer and it changed the game, and therefore its characters were something that brought something new to the table that other people didn't. I think that's why I think the DC reboot is it's bitten DC in the butt a little bit. Like, I don't know financially if it has or not, but the reboot got a whole lot of its history of DC erased, supposedly. And that's, it's not really... Here's the thing. It feels, with everything being completely redone, that the only stories you can now tear off of is the ones that came before. You know, like, the only Batman stories that the next Batman writer is going to be doing has to lead off of what Scott Snyder did. The only people who were doing something Green Lantern or Aquaman after Jeff Johns was done on Green Lantern, you know, they have to keep in the same line of Jeff Johns' run. Try to keep it loyal to his version rather than reinterpreting the character in their own way. And I think that was comics' greatest strength, is that one person could take, what do I see of this character, and redo it. And it might not be the same feel of character like he was in the previous issue, but that doesn't mean it's a bad story just because the character is not always 100% consistent. This whole series of continuity is something that, when it comes down to it, we want our stories to stay consistent to a point. But if they're good writing, we won't care that much. You know, like, take Doctor Who, for instance. I saw a video on Crack.com that was talking about how there is no consistency in Doctor Who, and that's why that particular person doesn't think it's good sci-fi. There is a lot of non-consistency. They can pull anything out of their hat at any time, and that's kind of what makes it interesting. The fact that they can go anywhere with it, and any person can do anything with it. I think that's what makes superheroes great, is that somebody can do something in one issue, and if you have a new writer on the next one, they can do something completely different, and it won't matter. People gotta stop taking this continuity thing so seriously that they have to try to start writing like other people. If you're writing Superman, write Superman the way you want to write Superman, not the way the previous writer writing Superman. That's what makes comics great. VLNGU118 says, congratulations on your 500th video and keep doing great videos. Question is, how do you feel about the Amazing Spider-Man franchise and its future? Also, what was the biggest... Okay, I'll talk about that. Here's just, you know, it's kind of weird. I gave a lukewarm reception to Amazing Spider-Man 2 when I first saw it. I recently rewatched it as it's come out on DVD, and I liked it a lot more the second time. And here's my theory. From what I got from the trailer, I had a certain feel was I thought this was going to happen, and I wanted this to happen. And then that didn't happen, and they gave me Amazing Spider-Man 2. And I felt a little bit betrayed, partially because of some of the misleading stuff they had in the trailer, and partially because of other things. But in the end, when I watched it the second time, I was no longer looking forward to this and getting this. I was looking at this on its own. And after doing that, I think I can much more appreciate the movie, and I think it's a much more solid film than I gave it credit for the first time going around. I mean, are there some stuff that are rushed? Sure. But looking again, Harry's transformation into the villain doesn't start when he becomes the Green Goblin. You know, it starts early on, and he slowly transforms into the villain. I was just thinking that, oh, now he's a villain. But no, you could totally see the stuff going more. And also there's stuff that I noticed that I didn't hear before. Like when Electro is in the city and he goes, and you hear that music, I thought it was just gibberish going, what the hearing it again, I realized, wait a minute, that's like a voice in his head because it's saying stuff. He lied to you. He's hit you, and he's like voices that are saying stuff that's gonna make him distrust Spider-Man. Like say he lied to you, he hates you, stuff like that. You know, and I'm like, oh, I didn't notice that before. That's kind of clever. As its future, I hope that they continue with the quality. But I hope they learn from the mistakes that the second one had. That there's too much stuff going on. That they need to simplify the story a little bit. Keep it epic and keep the villains, the great fights and everything. But you gotta simplify the story so there's not so much stuff going on. When Peter goes and he's like in the dad's office in a subway car, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that subplot. But you know what? A few more. if they're just careful, the next one will be even better. I have decided now Amazing Spider-Man 2 is better than the first one. It's just more crowded, which makes it harder to like. But in the end, I do like it more. His second question is, what was the biggest obstacle for you in your YouTube career and how did you overcome it? For me, the biggest obstacle is YouTube itself. It is like a monster that some days you love and some days you want to punch it in the face. If it had a face, because it's just YouTube. It's just, especially with, the thing that bugs me the most is when you render a video and you put it on and they say, okay, your video is approved. Yay! You're like, okay, well, that's fine. So then you take it, you go to your editing program, you delete all your footage because you don't need it anymore because it's been approved. A week later, no, copyrighted information, we're changing the rules now. Everything's different now. So this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. So now your video is blocked. And I can't edit the parts out that I didn't mean to have copyright information because I've already deleted all of my footage. And so I'm left with a video that is rendered worthless from YouTube. And sometimes I've had times because of that I've had strikes on my videos. Not strikes, but I mean, like, I've had a red mark on a video and then I delete the video, but the red mark doesn't go away, and it's supposed to. And I've had long periods of times where I can't make full integrated videos when I should have been able to. So that's the thing. Just know that if you're a part of YouTube, there's going to be times where YouTube's going to screw you over. You just got to deal with it, have patience, and hopefully they correct it. Next is Fatal Blow. Just out of curiosity, do you like Transformers, South Park, Total Drama, or Foster's Home, or Imaginary Friends? One of those. I like Total Drama. I think Total Drama is a funny series, especially since it's a Canadian series. I'm not sure how many people know that, but yeah, it's Canadian, and yeah, I think that's a really, 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 really funny show. You know what? I'm a big Survivor fan, and to see Total Drama, you almost look at some of the characters and you're like, oh, well, that's basically like this. For example, you have, oh shoot, I'm blanking on his name. You have Duncan, who is basically Boston Rob. Yeah, he's the bad boy that has practical environments that's always a hard player. Boston Rob, right there, right in front of you. Then you have Heather, who is a little bit of a flirt, but only so she can reach her own selfish ends and is totally the bitch. Parvati, right there. Not that Parvati isn't a great player. Parvati is a great player. I'm just saying that's who she's like. You have someone like Gwen, who is always nice and always gets far but never ever wins. Gwen is basically like Amanda from Micronesia and from Fans vs. Favorites in China, and I guess Heroes vs. Villains too. You have there's a lot of different characters that almost seem like they're based off of Survivor players, and that's kind of interesting. But Lindsay is basically Cass. Anyway, so I like Total Drama, and I've seen all the seasons, and I really like the show. Chris is a sadist. He really likes him causing pain. Anyway, SM4 Carnage, I hope, says, congrats on your 500th. Thank you. What do you want to see what do you want to see in the Earth 1 series? Well, do you mean what more do I want to see? I don't want to touch. I think that these guys are going great. If you were going to ask me what character I want to see next, Wonder Woman. It would have to be Wonder Woman. Do you think Robin will be incorporated into the Earth 1 and how soon? I think they're going to try to make this a solo, because the Earth 1 seems to be more nitty and gritty than the typical Batman story, which is saying something. So I don't think they're going to be having Robin in right away. However, they do have Barbara kind of wanting to be Batgirl, so I don't know, maybe they will. And do you think Robin/Nightwing will appear in Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice? I don't know, everyone's in that movie. I think Cyborg, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, you basically have everything in that movie so far, at least rumored, so I don't know. Crazy from TV Movie Guy says, what's your favorite Robot Chicken sketch, and have you seen any of the 2 DC special episodes? I have seen the DC special episodes. they're not as funny as I wanted them to be. I wanted them to be like the Star Wars specials funny, but they're not. But the only time that I laughed really hard is when there was a big fight going on between the villains and the heroes, and then you see Wildcat versus Darkseid, and he's like, was I supposed to fight Darkseid? Because I'm a guy in a cat suit. And he just gets blasted because it's Darkseid versus Wildcat. That's just not going to end any other way. But as for my favorite sketch, it's got to be Little Hitler. Little Hitler, such a scam. I mean, it almost is like teaching history to people who watch Robot Chicken. My teacher, this dress is smart. I have required the Polish boys test. And then he's like, I would require the Czechoslovakian boy desk as well. And then everyone's gone, and then you just see the USA kid, and he's like, not my problem. Then a Japanese kid pushes his milk over, he's like, now it's my problem. That is my favorite sketch. It's got to be Little Hitler. Okay, this one will be quick, because Charlie Shields, were you ever a Power Rangers fan? No. If so, favorite season, favorite Ranger, thoughts on the movie reboot from Lionsgate? No favorite season, no favorite Ranger, and I don't have any thoughts on the reboot. I really don't care. I'm sorry, but I don't. Josie Morales, what do you think of the game The Last of Us? I wish I could play it because I have Xbox and not PlayStation 3. I was actually really looking forward to it, and then boom, gone. Nope. I found out that it was a PlayStation exclusive. I was kind of pissed. Comics Dude 101, what color are you wearing? Gray, black, Caucasian, and blonde. By the way, are you, seriously, with an R and a U? Just sad, just sad. And then we got another one from Crazy Fun TV Movie Guy. What's your favorite crossover event in the New 52 so far? I guess, I don't know. Okay, the only thing that I can really say that I've really enjoyed, which is two different characters from two different franchises incorporating together, is Batgirl and Nightwing just talking. There's a moment where they're like playing tag with each other on the rooftops and kind of fighting, but they're having a conversation, and it's so cute and adorable. I want them to make out so much during that scene because they're so perfect for each other. But yeah, that's my favorite moment. I know it's not a full crossover. I don't really have anything really. I mean, the whole Court of Owls and City of Owls, that there's just so much stuff going on, and I don't know. I don't care. Here's something random. Could you spin around yelling something ridiculous and hilarious? Do you think I'm like an animal for you to just toy around and I'm the bunny, ain't got no fur. I'm the bunny, no fur. Next question is, I know you don't swear and I respect that, but if there was someone who in the world that would anger you so much that you would get you shouting every curse word, what do you think it would be? Justin Bieber. And not because of his music. Look, I've seen some Todd in the Shadows now, and his music sucks. Like, Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo Lover. Are you kidding me? That's stupid. But the fact is, I don't care if you are a stupid singer, okay? Fine. Do what you want. If you can make $1 million doing that, more power to you. I will not be a fan of yours, but it's up to you. But the way he treats his fans, the way he treats other people, like they're beneath him, and that he is better than everyone, is so aggravating. It's unbelievable. He spit on his fans! Not even on like people who were booing him or making fun of him. He spit on his fans! Purposely! He peed in a bucket in a restaurant and said that they should be honored that he did it. When he was arrested, I couldn't help it. I watched the video of the police interviewing him, and he was like, don't talk to me. Dude, you don't ask that question. You don't ask that question. I'm like, dude, you're arrested. You don't get to call the shots here. This isn't an interview for your latest album, and you get to decide what questions you answer or not. You have to answer the questions. They're police officers, you moron. And the people in the comments were like, this police officer trying to get his like 15 minutes of fame. No! The guy was drunk driving! He has to ask questions. That would be the one guy, one person that I probably wouldn't spit. I probably wouldn't swear, but I'd pull a Orlando Bloom and punch the guy. I bet Orlando Bloom's career went up like 12 points just by throwing a punch at that dude. Eric Lucas says, what is your thoughts on the casting of Batman vs. Superman? I personally like the casting aside from Gal Gadot, but I will give her the benefit of the doubt. I really don't want... I really don't know. Because movies... it's so, like, none of them are choices I would have made. I'll say that. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor wouldn't have made that in a million years. But it's all with... You gotta wait until you see the context. You know, like, if it's so horrible, then it's horrible. But if it's not, then it's not. And I don't have any way to tell that yet. I don't have any way to tell if it's good. I don't have any way to tell if it's bad. Talking about casting, unless it's someone who's so obviously bad, like, here's the thing. When Megan Fox was cast as April O'Neil, that was worth talking about, worth ranting about, because she is such a bad actress that she can't act. But Jesse Eisenberg, he can act. I mean, have you seen The Social Network? He can act. Whether he can act as Lex Luthor, that remains to be seen. Ben Affleck, he can act. Whether he can act as Batman remains to be seen. Gal Gadot, well, I saw her in Fast 5, but I don't remember her. But that's the thing. I didn't hate her. Like, I didn't remember hating any of the characters, and that this movie is completely ridiculous and ludicrous. But basically, as long as the people can act, I am going to reserve judgment until I see the movie. I don't really have anything to say. Next question is, also, what aspects of Arkham Knight are you looking forward to the most? Driving the Batmobile. I mean, it's... And more Scarecrow missions. I love Scarecrow missions, so looking forward to that. But driving the Batmobile was the one thing that that was missing, you know? Gliding, perfect. Thug beatdown, perfect. Villain fights were perfect in Arkham City. The combat, perfect. Making you feel like Batman with the detective vision, perfect. The way the combat is perfect. The one thing that was missing to make me feel like Batman, driving the Batmobile. And now it's there. And I'm totally okay with that. Another bunch of questions from Crazy From TV Movie Guy. Jeez, give some other people a turn, man. Other than X-Men, are any Marvel comics now you're reading or interested in reading? Not really. Only the X-Men comics are the ones that I'm interested in. I picked up a little bit of Superior Spider-Man. I don't care for it. Have you seen or will you see Sin City: A Dame to Kill For? And if so, will you be doing a review for it? I'm not that much into Sin City. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not my cup of tea. The characters in it are just too black and white. More black than white. Like, there are some parts about it. I like Marv. That Elijah Wood was extremely creepy in that. But the violence, the nudity, no, it's not for me. And I'm not going to be reviewing it. Have you heard the news that Aquaman has gotten 2 writers who are working on it for a solo movie, which I can't wait for? How about this? DC is now officially bought the rights to some website names, and one of the website names is Aquaman, so that's another step in the right direction. Hopefully that will come out soon. Have you read Crisis on Infinite Earths? If so, do you think it is important to the DC Comics? I haven't. That's one of the big books that I haven't read yet, was Crisis on Infinite Earths. I read Infinite Crisis, but I haven't read Crisis on Infinite Earths. And last is, what do you think about the question, and what do you think if there was a live-action movie or TV show? The question is awesome. However, I will admit that I've only read a little bit about him in comics. Most of it is from the Justice League TV show. which he was played great. I will say that I was mad when the question was like some mythological magic person with no face, that he wasn't just a detective with no face. In Pandora's Box or the original Sin, whatever, the Trinity Wars thing, that was the thing I was just like, I don't really care for that. But, oh well. I think like a TV show would do good, but he's not popular enough, sorry to say. Genevieve Fangirl, sorry. Congrats on your 500th video. Why does everyone keep saying that? I mean, seriously. For my questions, do you watch the 2002 TMNT show on Nick? And if so, what are your thoughts? I would like to thank Michael Bay. Not because he made a good Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, not even though he wasn't a director, he was a producer, but he was behind the creative process. I would like to thank him, not because that movie was good, but because I wanted to see something good about the Ninja Turtles so bad that I finally decided to see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the new one, and the TV show. I saw a couple of episodes here and there, I just wasn't feeling it. But you know what? I sat down and I started watching, and I've now seen the whole thing. From season 1 and 2, now seen the whole thing. I think it's a great TV show. I think I was distracted by a few things at first, like Beast Boy's voice coming out of Michelangelo, but you know what? I got around to it. All the voice acting was great in the show. I thought it was really good of the show to try not to recreate what was already done in the previous 2 animated TV shows, but to try to get a middle ground, Like, the first one was originally cheesy. The second one in the 2000s was like kind of dark and brooding a little bit. This one is like a right balance in between. It has cheesy stuff. Like one of the guys of the villains is a dog that knows kung fu, called Dog Pound. And I love how Michelangelo loves naming things, and he'll get like pissed if anyone ever names something without him. But that I find hilarious. It has stuff like that, but then it has like. By the way, this show has my favorite Splinter. Favorite Splinter ever. Bar none. Splinter in this show is the best. And, like, my favorite... Like, there's so many good lines he has. One of my favorites that always stands out is when April, who they handled good, but not at the beginning. Her introduction is just like, well, now she's in the sewers, she's with everyone. No one needs to explain anything to her. She's just part of the group. But there's a part where she's like, they have us running around in a maze like rats. Oh, and she turns to Splinter, she's like, oh, sorry. And he goes, I like a good maze. I'm just like, I love that. It's just little lines like that he has makes him the most identifiable, the best Splinter out of all of them. Next, who inspired you to do videos on YouTube? I was inspired by 2 legendary critics, older but yet wise, who critical comments have been around for a very long time and has such an impact on society. I am, of course, talking about Stettler and Waldorf. I'm not even kidding. There is this website that I go to called movies.com, and they used to do this thing where Stettler and Waldorf, the Muppets, would review movies. They would talk about movies, and they'd say what's so dumb about them, and they'd make fun of them. And I thought that was hilarious. And then, of course, I moved from that to it wasn't Siskel and Ebert at first, because I was around the age when Roger Ebert was doing stuff with Richard Roeper. So I was watching Ebert and Roeper, and they were reviewing stuff, and I got into that. And then when I moved to Edmonton for a year of Bible college, I got hooked on reviews, and it was all because of The Dark Knight. I started watching review after review after review of The Dark Knight. I wanted to see what everybody else thought, and I wanted to see their opinions on it, and I just kept on watching, and I kept on going from review to review to review, and it just kept going. And eventually, because of this, I found my way to a Batman and Robin review done by the Nostalgia Critic, and then I got hooked on the Nostalgia Critic. And then there's like Blow Himself Up Dude. He was one of these reviewers that I started watching, Brown Coat Eric, because the way he did reviews, it was not really about like the spectacle and he's doing this and whatnot. All he had was always just usually one image. It was just one image, and he was just talking about it. But he was talking about it in an intelligent but personal way that made you feel like you were having a conversation with the guy. So I took all that, the critical analysis from Roger Ebert and Richard Roper, the Nostalgia Critic, Brown Coat Eric, and that's when I decided to start doing reviews. I actually didn't at first. I wanted to talk, my very first serious video talking about stuff, I was talking about the superhero movie fad and how big it was getting. This was around the time when Watchmen was about to come out. And I was talking about how this is becoming a big thing. Oh, and it is. I was totally right on that one. But after that, I started to wanting to share my own opinions on stuff. So I started doing reviews and I started just talking about comics. It was mostly just comics in general. And then it kind of morphed its way into movies and comics, and before you knew it, I remember for a while I had 2 theme songs. I had one for comics, one for movies, but then I started talking about some stuff in TV and video games. I'm like, screw it. So then that's when I had my main theme song and everything, but those are the people that were the big impact on me. What is my greatest dream? I would love to become a professional movie reviewer. That would be stellar for me, but for a dream, I just want to live a good life, get married, have some kids, and have a career that's, gives me enough money to live on. I would love to be a movie critic professionally, but if that doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. And 4, what's your favorite animated film of all time? Can't tell you that. That will be stuff that I'll save for my animated look back. Javi Ruzi, or Ruzizu, R-U-I-Z. Can you tell us more about your superhero OB and have? Can you tell us more about your superhero OB and have some superheroes of my own? I think you're meaning what my superhero was for LazerDude99. It's very... For LazerDude99, or for LazerDude, I'm LazerDude99. For LazerDude, it was very much a ripoff of Batman and Spider-Man. I don't really have an origin for the character anymore because I'm not using the character. The character is now me, and I'm such a character. So yeah, I don't really have any origins. It was just a ripoff of Batman and Spider-Man. Anyway, can you do a superhero series, a superhero versus series, not just DC and Marvel? Here's the thing, I got so much flack for my lack of knowledge of my Justice League versus Avengers. I don't really have any interest in doing that for more characters, besides everybody's doing that now, and none of them are as good as Death Battle. Death Battle has it down pat. I don't have the time or the patience to do all that research or anything, and everyone will always just argue my points anyway, even when I've given them pretty clear facts that the Justice League would win over the Avengers. So, yeah, that's it. Anyway, next is Splitter Johnson. Thank you for all you've done. Okay, so Raimi Spider-Man or Webb Spider-Man? Webb. I mean, while I still love Spider-Man 2, Andrew Garfield is just such a better Spider-Man, and the series takes itself a little bit more seriously. I just say I still like those. I like the new ones better than the old. He also asks, do you have a girlfriend? That's personal, but no. Austin Langford says, what's your favorite DC animated movie? It's gotta be The Dark Knight Returns. And not just because it's based on my favorite graphic novel. It's just the music, the fighting, and everything has so far not been topped from those 2 movies. No one has topped it. It's the best. Hashim Hassan says, congrats for your 500th episode, LazerDude99. My question is, do you allow people to give you messages or books or games or anything at all? Hope you have a nice time. Sure, if you want to send it to me, go ahead. I'll just, I don't know, send me a message and I'll I can get into contact if anyone wants to send anything. And what's your favorite director? Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is the one that... Here's the thing. Even though not everything Steven Spielberg does is amazing, the majority of Steven Spielberg's stuff would be like the pinnacle for any other film director. If any other film director made that movie, that would be their best movie, where Steven Spielberg just has so many of those. I've recently just watched Schindler's List. Made me cry. And I don't cry in movies. So I used to. I used to not. Darth Venom. Congrats on your 500th video, LazerDude99. Keep up the good work. I have a few questions. What are your most anticipated films of 2015? I don't really look forward to films coming up. I mean, I know that Batman vs. Superman is coming in 2016, so I don't really have any movies that I know are coming out in 2015 that I'm looking forward to. I guess, like, the next Hunger Games movie, because Catching Fire Part 1... Not Catching Fire. Mockingjay Part 1 comes out this year, and then Part 2 the next year, so that's one. But other than that, I just don't look forward... at the beginning of the year, I'll look forward to it, but not right now. Not right now. I just keep it to... Live in the moment, not in the future. What DC superheroes, besides Superman and Batman, would you like to have their own live-action movie? Well, I've said before that I would love to have a Deadman movie. Mostly because the character is so good and so complex, and there's so many different things you could do with that character that I just love. That's the one character I would do. Top 5 favorite animated shows, top 5 hated animated shows. I'll save those for another time, maybe. All Things Super says, have your opinion on the Amazing Spider-Man 2 changed since you did the review? I said that before. Yes, they have changed. I did enjoy the movie a lot more now than I did before. EN89 says, can you review Infamous? Any of the 3 games with the title? I personally think you should review Infamous 2. Can't. PlayStation exclusive. I wanted to buy it, but it's PlayStation exclusive. I own Xbox. Rhino Oz, have you ever watched TV show Breaking Bad? What are your thoughts on it? No, and I don't want to. I already talked about that. If you had to choose between video games or movies, what would you pick? Movies. There's more of them, and I don't play as much video games as I watch movies. Booster Gold says, what's your favorite horror film? Have you watched Breaking Bad? No to the second one. And for favorite horror film, probably Jaws, because Jaws technically is a horror film, and I just love it to death. It's amazing. The Bandicott Nerd 131. Congratulations on 500 videos. Here are my questions. Thoughts on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and with the upcoming Gotham show on Fox? I don't like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't dislike it like it's horrible, but I gave it a shot. I watched like 5 episodes, and none of it grabbed me. None of the characters grabbed me. None of the story grabbed me. I'm just like, no. When's Arrow on? Let's just watch Arrow. Because I don't know. I was expecting a lot more from it, and I didn't get it. Yeah, so I don't care about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Gotham, that I'm going to have to wait and see, because that one could go either way. Yusaki Yojimbo versus Howard the Duck. Who wins? I assume Yusaki Yojimbo because he has a sword, does he? It's a bunny, right? Have you ever read any manga? And if so, which manga or mangas have you read? I haven't read manga. Only comic books. Christian Knight. Who's your favorite voice actor / actress? Mine would be Steve Blum, Vanessa Marshall, and Joe DiMaggio. My favorite voice actor... I don't know. I want to say Mark Hamill, because Mark Hamill's done a lot of voice acting work. Not just Joker. He was the villain in The Last Airbender. He was the villain in How to Train Your Dragon, and he's been in a lot of stuff. So I'll say Mark Hamill. For actress, Tara Strong. I would say Tara Strong. She's the one that I don't know. I like her voice. Christian Knight, this is one of the toughest questions for superhero cartoon fans, but I'm curious what your preference is. Who do you like more, Greg Weisman or Bruce Timm? Bruce Timm. Bruce Timm is one of those guys that his work is so vast and essential and important to the comic book world that it's so sad that he will not really be known by anyone other than the hardcore animated TV show fans. And that's sad. That's sad. I mean, he did essential comic book world-changing work on Batman the Animated Series, Justice League, Batman Beyond, Superman the Animated Series, Green Lantern the Animated Series, and all. Not to mention the majority of those DC reboot animated movies. You have so much of this stuff that he has done to just be a great superhero storyteller, and it's sad that he's kind of retired now, but Bruce Timm in my mind is the best. Crazed Gamer says, my question, who do you think would win in a fight, Blue Beetle or Optimus Prime? Yeah, you couldn't have chosen two lesser characters that I knew nothing about. I'm going to say... I don't know. I'm going to say I really don't know. Crazy Fun TV Movie Guy, have you read or heard of Spider-Man One More Day? And when you agree it is the worst Spider-Man book story of all time, even the worst Marvel story ever, or one of the worst comic book series ever? Yes. To all of them. All of those questions. Yes. And I can't see it here, but I know she asked this, so I'm going to close it out with this. I don't know if it just skipped over it, but Gamer Girl asked what was my favorite and least favorite Survivor season, because she knows I was a big Survivor fan, and I'm going to answer it because I know it was here because I saw it and I was looking forward to it. Now I've read all the questions, so I'm going to close it out with this. Sorry, Gamer Girl, that it's taken so long, but favorite Survivor season. Here's the thing. A lot of people hate Redemption Island. And I really like it for like the reason everybody hates it. I love strategy, and I love seeing people's using their strategy. And to see Boston Rob dominate in Redemption Island, that is one of my favorite. Would I say it's my favorite? Probably not the favorite. It's one of my most satisfying. See, there's always a difference between favorite and which one's the most satisfying. Because Boston Rob won Redemption Island and he earned it. You have some people who I'm really rooting for this one person, but he makes it so cool. Like Yowman in Survivor Thailand. Yowman is one of my favorite survivors ever. And it was so close. And Dreams reneged on the deal and got him voted off because of it. Jerk. So least favorite seasons. I recently watched Survivor Thailand and Brian Hyden don't really care. But I think, actually, surprisingly, my least favorite season is season 4 with Marquesas, because it was like a... Actually, you know what? I'll tell you what my least favorite season is. Borneo. Everyone always writes on that the first season is the best. I rewatched it, and it wasn't because I not rewatched it. I watched it for the first time, and it wasn't because it was like I already knew who won that made it boring for me. It was the fact that nobody except Richard Hatch realized that they were playing a game for $1 million. When everyone says Richard Hatch is like the greatest Survivor player ever, no, because he was playing the game before he had any players to actually play against. And he almost lost. And the only reason he won is because some guy liked the fact that a homosexual was going to win this first Survivor contest, and because he chose the number between 1 and 10, and the other person was stupid and chose like 1, and he chose 5. Why would you choose? This has happened twice in Survivor where someone says pick number between 1 and 10. Someone says something like 3. And the other person goes, 6. Like, no! You say 4! That way anything higher than 3 is yours. You win! But no, if anything's lower than 3, then you lose. You don't say the higher number. Have you never watched The Price is Right? Gosh! But anyway, yeah, the first season I do not care for at all. At all. Just nobody was playing except for Richard Hatch. And that's why I watched Survivor, because people play. And I love the 2 recent seasons. Blood versus Water, loved it. Survivor Cagayan, loved it. But I also love Survivor Palau because Tom is just a great player and a great winner. It's just so hard to watch, though, because you feel so bad for Pagong. Oh, so bad. So, anyway, favorite Survivor season. The one that had the most, the one that I wanted to win and ended the best way. Oh, sorry. It probably would be Redemption Island. I'm gonna say it. Redemption Island or hated. Okay, here's most hated. The first half of Survivor One World. I hate Colton. Colton is the worst Survivor player ever. The worst. I have never seen someone so bad and as a quitter embodies everything wrong with someone playing Survivor. The guy was a bully, almost a racist from the looks of things, and just a coward, a liar just for the sake of lying and messing with people. The guy was bad. So bad. I was actually happy. Like, I wasn't at first, but I was happy to see him come back for Blood versus Water. I thought I would hate him coming back. But you know what? I was happy. You know why? Because here he comes, his Colton thing. Oh my gosh, this person told a lie about you, and he was so rude and obnoxious. And Aris just goes, okay, I'm going to shut this down right here. Nobody's buying any of the BS that you're spewing. So, shut it. And right there, I'm just like, this is going to be a good season. This is going to be a good season. Okay, I'm going to say maybe Blood vs. Water my favorite. Those are the ones, Redemption Island, Blood vs. Water. It's hard to tell because I like Tyson as a winner. I like Boston Rob as a winner. Both of those guys deserved it. I like the... Yeah, that's it. I'm just going to say that. Thanks for watching, everybody. My Q&A. I think I have a new record for longest video. But, wow. 500 videos. Oh, well, it's 500... Hoodwinked is now officially my 500th video because YouTube screwed up and they took off my Superman review, my Superman movie bash. So I'm gonna have to re-upload that one. For anyone who's actually still watching, could you in the comments, or not in the comments, but when you have a chance, when I re-upload my Superman video, if they allow me, could you just click on it? You don't need to watch it all. Just click on it, see it for a little bit, and then leave, just so I can get the views up to what it was. That'd be great. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm LazerDude99. 500 videos. Here's to the next 500. Oh, boy. Wonder what those Q&As will be like. Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel. And wait for more coming soon.